Okay, it's officially the day. The car is all packed. I have just a few of my vertical displays. The Michaels is providing the table or tables if I ask for more than one. So all I'm bringing are my plushies, my signs, and my vertical displays. But we are here at the Michaels a little bit early because that's how I run. So I'm going to have my pre-market breakfast, which is a Wawa sausage, egg, and cheese croissant, and then we will start our day. All right, I'm all set up, sweaty like crazy. It is actually cooler outside than it is in here, but I will show you the setup and we'll see how today goes. All right, 2 o'clock check-in. It's actually been busier than we thought. We've been doing pretty good. We got 2 hours left, so we'll see how many more sales that we end up doing. I'll show you the table as it is now, and then I'll try to make sure to film the table again before we clean up. But knowing us, I can't guarantee that. All right, 40 minutes to go. It's been much slower since my last check-in. I've only made a couple of sales, but we'll see what else happens in these last 40 minutes. Oops, say hi. And with 5 minutes to spare, we just had a mini rush that made a big amount. You can even see right there, 2 really big items just went like that. But we're literally packing up in 5 minutes. And after 25 minutes, we are fully loaded up, ready to go. We are going to stop at BJ's for dinner because we haven't eaten since breakfast. And you should stay tuned because you'd be surprised how much we made at this one. All right, back home, changed, have taken the public face off, and we're ready to recap the market. It was surprisingly sweaty for being indoor, low stakes. Not even that far of a walk. I pulled the car right up to the door and brought everything in, but I don't know why, we were just sweating. But it really wasn't a bad day. It was a bit of a slow start. In the first hour, I only made 6 sales, but they really weren't, like I said, it wasn't bad. It was slow. However, the second and third hour, 12 to 1 and 1 to 2, that was just nonstop. We had people coming in, and so there were some times where like 3 people were trying to make a transaction or check out all at the same time. We were slammed multiple times throughout 12 and 2. Also, during that time, because that first hour was so slow and I had forgotten to bring my project bag, and I'm in a craft store, I decided I'm gonna go to the back in the yarn section. I'm gonna find a hook, find some yarn, so that way I have something to work on. And I get back up and I kind of have it on the side, like debating, like, okay, is that the color I want? You know, I have time to think about it. I'm sitting in a craft store for 5 hours. And like I said, we had so many people for that 2 hours that by the time 2 o'clock hit and there was only 2 hours left of sitting there, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna spend my money on this yarn for 2 hours. I have 2 hours left. Like, I'm not going to make anything. I'll just go put it back. That jinxed me. I put it back, and those last 2 hours were so slow. I only made 6 sales from 2 to 3. And so then I debated, okay, do I go back and pick up the yarn again? I didn't. My mom had also had that same idea, and she had purchased yarn, so she decided she needed to walk around at that point because, well, she'd been sitting for 3 hours, or we've been up, peopling. She just needed to, like, take a walk. So I took hers, and I continued on what she was doing. She was making a road trip scarf, so all it was just double crochets. So I start doing that. It didn't really unjinx me. I still, like I said, I only had those 6 sales, but it was whatever. And then at that point, we're like, okay, we have 1 hour left. Like, it'll be what it'll be. It was a free thing, so we'll take what we can get. And then that last hour was even slower. For the first 40 minutes of the hour, so from 3 to 3:40, I made 3 sales, all from the same kid. He just kept coming back. So clearly his mom and his sister were walking around the store, and he was, kind of along for the ride. He just kept sneaking back up. He had $15 in his wallet, and $5 transactions later, he had a fidget spinner and 2 little pocket buddies, and he was happy. Then we had a 10-15 minute downtime. And really that last 5 minutes, we made 2 really, really big sales. Well, one wasn't big financially, but it was a decent amount of things. And the other one was, but it was just like, you've got to be kidding me. This is how we end the hour or the whole market, So let's go through what I sold and how much I made. For my $5 items, I sold 1 crab, 9 ducks and hats. I had just a few strawberries and the rest frogs, but if we put it out, it went. So we put out 9, and all 9 sold. I sold 3 hedgehogs, 2 mini mallards, 3 hedgehogs, 2 mini mallard ducks, 1 rainbow bee, and 1 spider. From the Build Your Own Toasted Marshmallow kind of display I sold the sticks, the small 6-inch sticks for $2, the large sticks for $4, and then they had a range of marshmallows, some toasted with the little flame on top, some not, so the customers could mix and match. I ended up selling 3 sets. I had 1 order with the 12-inch stick and 2 marshmallows, in order of the 6-inch stick with 2 marshmallows, and a 6-inch stick with 1 marshmallow. So 5 marshmallows total, 3 sticks. From my $10 category, I sold 1 bat, 1 chicken, 1 duck, 1 pumpkin mini cat, 2 regular mini cats, 3 opossums, and 1 rainbow mushroom. For $15, I sold 1 bear, and it was to the cutest little girl. This family had come in. They had, I wouldn't even call her a toddler yet. She was still the baby stage. Cutest thing. She's just grabbing everything. Grabbing everything, handing it to mom. Grabbing everything, handing it to dad. Grabbed an armful of things. So I went down to help clean it up. So then she started handing them to me. Here you go. I'm picking this out for you. It was so cute. But one thing she did grab for herself was this little bear. So she got the bear, and then mom had gotten something else, which I'll get to when I get to that category, but that one was just so cute. So I had to tell that story in there. But that would be 1 bear, 1 ghost, and 1 small sea turtle. This woman had walked up and just again started grabbing things off the table, and she was like, oh, do you have any smaller ones? I'm like, actually, yeah, I do. I do have 1 smaller one. So she's like, oh, mine. And then for $15, it was a mistake on my part, but I needed to honor what was on the tag. So this family had come up, and I only had 2 Halloween loaf cats that I normally sell for $20. But when I had made the skeleton one last year, I was selling them for 15 and I didn't relabel it. And so that one said 15, and my ghost cat that I made during my, July yarn challenge, I forgot to put a label on, and they're the same size. So when she held it up and I saw it was yellow, I'm like, oh, they're 15. And in my head, I was like, oh no, darn it. Well, I have to honor it now. I said the price was 15. So I sold her the ghost cat for 15 when it was supposed to be 20, but that's on me. I should have double checked when I was, when I was packing them, and I missed it. As for the $20 category, I sold 2 of the Fable babies. I sold the long-eared bunny and the puppy. It was actually to one of my students. She'd come in with her mom, and she bought one for herself and one for her friend whose birthday party they were going to. So it was very sweet. I sold, again, 2 of the fall seasonal love cats. So I sold the witch cat at the correct price of $20 to the family with the baby who had bought the bear. And then I have marked here, it was the ghost cat, but I sold it for 15. I sold 4 mini dragons. One was the Pitter Patter by Bernat Baby Blanket, which is that pink, white, yellow, blue with pink wings, to one of my mom's students. I sold, one person bought 2. She got the, I think it's Storm Blue. It's Bernat Mystical, and then the Black Cinder Bernat Mystical Dragon. And then someone had bought the Kaleidoscope with the Teal Wings Dragon. And then I sold 2 of the splooting cows. I brought 2, I sold 2. These splooting cows, I also have a unicorn and elephant, and the cows are the only ones I've sold. I thought these patterns by Loops and Knots Crochet were gonna be a big hit, and they're cute and it draws people in, but people haven't been buying them. But the cows at least have made some sales. At 25, I sold the Grim Reaper, and that was like right off the table. This girl walked in, they went to go look over in the Halloween section. She came running over and said, how much is this? I said 25. She goes, done, I'll be right back. Ran over to her boyfriend, got the wallet, came over, bought it, done. She's like, I don't even need a bag, and just took it. It was gone like that. We sold 1 Kraken and 2 sea turtles. So like I said, one of the sea turtles went to the lady who asked for the small one, and then the other one was a tie-dye shell that went to a younger boy. In my $30 range, I sold 2 cows. One was the Strawberry Hoodie Cow by Nooks Hooks, and the other was a cow from a free Instagram pattern I found right at the beginning of my, crochet journey. And if I can find it, I'll put the pattern designer somewhere on the screen. But I'm not gonna make that version anymore just because it requires so many stitches with a smaller hook. And at this point, I'm just gonna do a pattern that's a bit easier on my hands. Takes just as much time, but less stitches. But still, I like the way the cows looked, and someone was very happy, and that was one of my last sales. So it was a $30 cow, and trust me, we're getting to the other one that was in that last sale. I also sold 1 of my food turtles. It was my cookie sandwich turtle. It's one of my favorites, but it's sold, so that means I get to make another one, which I'm fine with. All right, into the big leagues here. We have $40. Now I know $40 doesn't seem like a lot, but that is as high as my base, product line goes. Obviously, I have some nice, like, big staple pieces that are usually, the showstoppers, the eye catchers. I have a strawberry dragon for $75 and then a large dragon for $200. Didn't have room at this table to put it up, but I normally do. But I don't really count them towards my normal price range because I'm not going to make a price range of multiple, $200 dragons that takes me a week to do. So $40 is kind of like the highest price point of an individual item line. But in that $40, I sold the sloth, which was one of that last purchase. So it was a $30 count, a $40 sloth as my last purchase, $70 to end the little market stint. Not bad. And then I also had a snuggler sell. It was the chick, which everyone sees as the duck, which is ironic because earlier on when I got that pattern book by Mama Made Minis, I made it but changed the bill to be a duck bill and it didn't sell. But when you make the little cone chick beak, everyone calls it a duck and it sells. So, I mean, I'm not going to complain about it. It's less work for me, but it's not a duck, it's a chick. But as we say at the table, it's whatever you want it to be. And then for my mom's sales, she sold 2 resin fidget spinners. So in total, that's 57 plushies and 2 fidget spinners. So 59 items sold in total. So with those items sold, I made $738 at this market. 150 of it was in cash, 89 in Zelle, 292 in Venmo, 147 in Cash App, and then $60 in check. We were not expecting any of this. You know, I have a goal, like, you know, obviously long-term goal, stretch goal is 1,000 every market. I knew I wasn't gonna get that at this one, but you know, it's always the goal. But it's also like the short-term goal of like, okay, let's make about 100 an hour. It'll be a successful market, even if we don't meet that big goal, if I make $100 an hour. And I was there for 5 hours. So our goal was 500. Like, we'll be happy if we make 500. Like, that'll be a really good day because it's a Michaels. So, you know, you never know who's going to come in, if they're going to come in at all. It wasn't advertised. I mean, beyond what I share, but I only share to my followers and my followers see my stuff all the time. So who knows? So we were just kind of like hoping for the best. And when we calculated that we hit over 700, we were just like, all right, well, I'm hungry. So we went to BJ's, we enjoyed pizza and a Pizookie together, and now we're tired. So now that it's done, I have to empty the car, but after that, it's time to go to bed. So I hope you enjoyed coming along. I will hopefully be a little less socially anxious and better at filming so you see more of the market at my next one. But in order to make sure that you do see that one, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Also like and comment on this video. And speaking of subscribers, I did have a little sign with a QR code that says if you subscribe to my channel, you can get a free keychain because my mom has decided to start quilting and taking quilting classes. So she was practicing by making like the little quilted, you know, keychain wristlets. So she just had a bag of them. And so I made that sign and I had 4 new subscribers because of this. They scanned the QR code, they got a free keychain wristlet, and I really, really appreciate them wanting to support me. So if you are one of those 4 subscribers that met me at Michael's today, hi, thank you. I really appreciate your support and I hope you enjoy your keychain. With that being said, please subscribe so that you can see whenever I post new videos. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.